The Heisman Preview Show, presented by Acura Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel. Live from Legends NYC in Midtown Manhattan. Here's Matt Moscona.
And a very pleasant good evening from Legends, Midtown Manhattan in New York City, where in a matter of 2 hours from right now, the ceremony will begin just about 15 blocks from where we sit, and the 89th Heisman Trophy will be awarded, and we are all expecting that trophy will be awarded to LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Good evening. Welcome in to Legends. I'm Matt Moscona, and glad to have you aboard with us here for the next 2 hours, as we will have a lot of our bases covered. We will get the national perspective on this vote from Bill Bender and Russ Mitchell. Jimmy Burrow will be with us 1 hour from right now. We were very fortunate yesterday to speak with Bunny Cannon, the daughter of the late Dr. Billy Cannon, and to tie it all together with LSU's 3 Heisman Trophy winners. We'll talk to Jimmy Burrow next hour about where he and his family were 4 years ago on this night, and what the Jayden Daniels family and what they will be experiencing, what their life will be like, forever changed after tonight's announcement. So a lot to get to. As a matter of fact, literally within the last half hour, just kind of catch you up on the day. On Friday, all of the Heisman finalists were here in New York City. They had an appearance, as you probably saw, at Raising Cane's in Times Square. Coincidentally, of course, Jayden Daniels had to go to New York to go to Raising Cane's. But that was a great opportunity for all of them. It was a photo shoot, a video shoot that'll be used for commercial ads and things of that nature. And they got a private tour in New York City. They, of course, got to watch the award show, the college football award show last evening. And then today, kind of a low-key day around Manhattan until media availability. Just within the last hour or so, the media availability before the Heisman ceremony. And then, obviously, the ceremony will happen at 8 o'clock local time here in New York, 7 o'clock Central. That television show runs about an hour. The end of the hour, of course, is when the winner will be announced and will deliver his speech. Jayden Daniels did tell reporters on hand Friday that he has prepared his speech, had already prepared it as of Friday, and I'm assuming we're going to get to hear that speech in just about 3 hours from right now. So a lot to do. Then afterwards, they'll whisk Jayden away from the Lincoln Center. They'll bring him to the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. He'll have a winner's press conference. And then the after party begins, and it'll be a night of celebrating, and no doubt Times Square is going to be painted in purple and gold tonight after Jayden Daniels becomes the 89th Heisman Memorial Trophy Award winner. There are, however, a lot of people that maybe are a little spooked after last night. So let me start there today, because the College Football Award show was last night, and all of the National College Football Awards were doled out, and it was a it was a great day for Jayden Daniels last night. He was named the Davey O'Brien Award winner as the best quarterback in college football. He had previously won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. He was named the Associated Press National College Football Player of the Year. He also won the Walter Camp Award as the National Player of the Year. So Jayden has already had a significant haul of awards, but one thing happened that spooked a lot of LSU fans, and I know this because on Twitter and a lot of different outlets, I got a lot of the feedback from many of you. So a lot of you probably are feeling or have thought the same thing. We've all just assumed that Jayden's going to win this award. Are we counting our chickens before they hatch? When people saw what happened there with the Maxwell, which is one of the National College Football Player of the Year awards, which went to Michael Penix of Washington. To put it as short as I possibly can, no. Jayden Daniels is going to win the Heisman Trophy tonight. Just as a for instance, and yes, the last handful of years, the winner of the Maxwell has also won the Heisman. Burrow, Devontae Smith, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams. That is true. But if you go, but it is actually quite common to have differing winners of the Maxwell and the Heisman. In 2018, Tua won the Maxwell, but Kyler Murray won the Heisman Trophy. In 2013, if you recall, A.J. McCarron won the Maxwell Award. In 2012, the year that Johnny Manziel won the Heisman, it was Manti Te'o that won the Maxwell Award. Andrew Luck won the Maxwell in 2011. That was the year RG3 won the Heisman Trophy. In 2009, when Mark Ingram won the Heisman, Colt McCoy won the Maxwell. In 2008, when Sam Bradford won the Heisman, Tim Tebow won the Maxwell. So my point, Vince Young in 2005 won the Maxwell when Reggie Bush won the Heisman. 2006, Troy Smith won the Heisman. Brady Quinn won the Maxwell. Eli Manning in 2003 won the Maxwell when Jason White won the Heisman. In 2004, Jason White won the Maxwell, but Matt Leinart won the Heisman. So you understand, Larry Johnson back in 2002 won the Maxwell when Carson Palmer won the Heisman. Ken Dorsey, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning back in 1997. My point is, there's a long list of players that won the Maxwell Award that did not win the Heisman Trophy. So I know there's a lot of LSU fans that got a little spooked by that last night. Let not your heart be troubled. That's a very common thing that happens. Jayden Daniels has already been named the Walter Camp National Player of the Year, the Associated Press National Player of the Year, the SEC Player of the Year. He's won the Johnny Unitas Award, the Davey O'Brien Award. Jayden Daniels, this is more of a coronation than anything tonight. So what I would attribute that voting to is the fact that you just didn't have a runaway winner. 4 years ago, not only did Joe Burrow put up an historically great season, statistically in the way he played, he was also the quarterback of the undefeated national champions as well. So, and at that time, they hadn't won the national championship, but they were 13-0. They were the undefeated SEC champion, and he was a runaway winner of everything because he had that kind of season. If Jayden Daniels were the quarterback of a 13-0 football team that were going into the playoff, this would have been a clean sweep of everything and a landslide vote. All this tells you is that this certainly won't be the landslide by which Joe Burrow won in 2019, but we know how the voting goes. It's the way I would put it to you is like this. When was the last time you sat down at your TV on that Saturday when the Heisman Trophy was awarded and you didn't know what name was going to be read? I know not everyone listening or watching right now is into sports betting, but with the advent and the popularity of sports betting becoming more mainstream and not just Heisman odds that were put out at Vegas sports books 20 years ago and beyond. Now with mobile betting and online betting, there are so many odds makers, and when all of them have a consensus point of view that Jayden Daniels is an overwhelming favorite to win the award, remember, this isn't a game that's going to be played on the field. There are humans that vote on this. So on Monday, we knew, by Monday afternoon, the winner of the Heisman Trophy had been determined already. The votes were in. Voting ended on Monday. So for all intents and purposes, we knew then, and that's when voting closed. So there's people just waving at us at the window if you're watching. It's SantaCon in New York City as well. There's a bajillion people dressed up like Santa Claus walking all over New York City. But so we knew on Monday when the voting had closed who the Heisman winner that the Heisman winner had already been determined. There's nothing anybody else could do at that point. And when you look at other things, and of course they'll take straw polls. The odds makers will take straw polls. They will look at voters that publicly disclose their votes. And Heisman voters are asked not to do so, by the way. They're asked not to disclose their vote beforehand, but sometimes they do, or odds makers know Heisman voters and can ask. So there are straw polls, like we talked about, and so there's a way that these odds makers know how this is going to go. So I guess all of this is just to say, let not your heart be troubled. If you're worried about what happened last night with the Maxwell, that is in no way a reflection of what's going to happen tonight with the Heisman Trophy. Just one, for instance, ESPN published its straw poll. So every week throughout the season, they conduct voting in the manner in which the Heisman Trophy conducts voting. You get 5 points for a first place vote, 4 points for a second, 3 for a third, 2 for a fourth, 1 for a fifth place vote. Although a Heisman Trophy voter only gets the ballot has 3 spots, not 5. But anyway, Jayden Daniels was in the ESPN straw poll was in first place, and actually the lead of this piece at ESPN.com is it's all over but the counting. I'm reading it directly from ESPN.com. So this isn't just an LSU guy who's touting the LSU kid who we all assume is going to win the Heisman Trophy. It's just the way that this is going to go, because by the time everyone's sitting in that theater on the Saturday night when the Heisman Trophy is awarded, we all know, and the presentation itself, the announcement itself, is but a mere formality. So we are fully expecting that in less than 3 hours from right now, Jayden Daniels' name will be read down at Lincoln Center at the theater, and will be the recipient of the 89th Heisman Memorial Trophy. Okay, it is our Heisman preview show. Sincere thanks to Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel. 3 businesses, 3 great partners who have sponsored our coverage and allowed us to be here these past several days to bring you all of the content from the press conferences after further review on Friday here from Legends, and then obviously our Heisman preview show today. We'll step aside for our first break of the show. A bit later, I do want to come back to the awards because I know a lot of people have had questions about Malik Nabers not winning the Biletnikoff. So I will talk about that a bit, but this is a Heisman preview show, and we are talking about the Heisman Trophy, Jayden Daniels' season, et cetera, et cetera. So when we come back, Scott Rabalais of The Advocate, longtime Heisman voter, is here in New York City. The media availability that was conducted with the 4 finalists happened within the last hour. Scott Rabalais was there. He'll give us all the final tidbits from that media availability there at the Marriott Marquis, the media hotel, just down the street from where we are in Midtown Manhattan. We are glad you're with us here on the Heisman Preview Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, Eagle 98.1, and, of course, joined by our friends at ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Stay here. Scott Rabalais is next.
Hurry into your local Acura dealer for the Season of Performance event going on now.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
Live from Legends NYC in Midtown Manhattan, it's the Heisman Preview Show. Presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Eagle 98.1.
Here's the snap. Daniels, 3 steps and airs it out. Ball near side. Thomas catch at the 25. Thomas to the 10 to the 5. Lunging forward to the end zone. They'll say touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Fighting Tigers.
One of many spectacular plays by that duo this year. Of course, Jayden Daniels to Brian Thomas. We are here at Legends in Midtown Manhattan, just a few blocks from where we are. Scott Rabalais is at the Media Hotel, the Marriott Marquis in Times Square, where he's no doubt being inundated by people in Santa outfits, as SantaCon is this weekend in Manhattan. But the Heisman Trophy finalists just wrapped up media availability. Scott, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm well. I am not in a Santa costume. I am in a gray sports coat, kind of like Jayden Daniels. Not quite as fashionable as Jayden, but I'm doing my best.
I noticed on the inside of his jacket, he's got what is that a Jayden Daniels like outline that I saw?
Yeah, it's like a black and white image of him from the Florida game. They made it the lining of the jacket. He's got a vest, a gray these very stylish gray loafers. I mean, he's, like I said, much more stylish than I am. Someone asked him, did you think about wearing a turtleneck? He said, no, I wore a turtleneck at the Johnny Unitas thing. I could do that 2 functions in a row. So he thinks about his clothes a lot and the look, and he's prepared, as you'd expect from the way he's played this year. He's prepared a speech and everything, should he be the winner.
Scott, anything else from this? It is a bit odd, though, to have like the pre-ceremony availability when we had availability yesterday as well at 2 different occasions. I'm not sure if there was anything notably different. Was there anything of note from any of the 4 finalists here in this last hour?
Nothing really earth-shattering, I would say. I think Jayden was asked, a couple of times, and they were all kind of asked, are there butterflies? Are you nervous? And Jayden, as cool a customer as he has proven to be, over the course of his 2 years at LSU, said, no, not really. He said it's it's out of his, it's obviously the voting's done and it's out of his hands. There's nothing he can do about it. He's just been, trying to, enjoy time with his family that's here and enjoy all the moments. He said he'd like to hear the backstories of the other 3 finalists, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and Marvin Harrison, and they were asked by the transfer portal. Of course, the 3 quarterbacks here we're all transfer portal guys, and he said, it's just what's best for your life. It's not best for anybody else. And then someone asked him about the NIL money. He said, "Not all money is good money." I thought that was one of the more interesting comments any of them had.
Yeah.
So I guess he could probably be a little judicious at this point about what deals he takes and which ones he declines.
I think all four of the young men that will be on stage tonight will be handsomely compensated here in a few months from right now. Scott Rabalais is with us from The Advocate. He's just a few blocks up in Times Square at the Marriott Marquis. Scott, you're also a Heisman voter. What was that process like for you this year relative to past years?
Obviously, it's, I've voted a long time. I've voted since '97, and so certainly most of those years there's not been an LSU guy in the mix. I've had you had Tyrann Mathieu, and you had I think Glenn Dorsey. You had to at least consider. I don't recall making one of my three choices. You vote first, second, and third. And, of course, voted for Joe. And then, obviously, Jayden this year, I've seen him up close and, thought a lot of his ability. And, that makes it different because that's unusual. Most years, I think for anyone who votes, it's not anyone that you're this intimately familiar with. But as far as, you want to compare, you say, look, these are the guys all year long, how he can, who he's in contention with, who he compares to. And remember, he started the season as the second favorite with a lot of people in Vegas behind Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was, the last year's winner, and he was expected, at least to start with, to repeat. And, of course, his candidacy, faded down the stretch of the season. But Jayden went down, and he came back up. And obviously, you start comparing him as the season goes on to the stats of the other people. But I can't reveal my vote until after the winner is announced. But there's no one. I will say there's no one who brings his blend of talent to the game and to each situation and to the course of the season. I thought Trevor Maddich from ESPN had one of the best analysis of him. He said a few weeks ago, he said, when you have someone who throws the deep ball as well as Jayden does, which is something he really developed this year. They don't usually run very well. If someone runs as well as he does, they usually don't throw the deep ball very well. But he does both and makes it a unique set of skills. I think that speaks to his credibility as probably the best player in the country.
Sure. Of course, Trevor Maddich, if I'm not mistaken, was Trevor Maddich – wait, he was on the team at BYU in 1984 that claimed the national championship. He was not there in 1990 when Ty Detmer won the Heisman. But
I think that's right.
But is familiar, certainly. Scott Rabalais with us. You mentioned being a voter since 97. One of the things, Scott, as this went along, and I'll just kind of lean into your experience here, was just very clearly, like there were some very outspoken West Coast Heisman voters. And there's always this question about regional bias. What's your thought on the impact that regional bias has in the award and how that generally plays out?
Matt, we all bring biases to things. If you're on a committee or you vote for something, and look, I think we saw it play out with the college football playoff committee. I mean, if that was Oklahoma State sitting there with Alabama's resume, they wouldn't have picked them, in my opinion. But there was a bias towards Alabama, and you can't get away from that completely. The Heisman has set it up with its 870 media members who vote from around the country in 6 different regions, 145 per week. And it's broken down the states depending on how many football schools you have. We have 19 in Louisiana, plus like Jacob Hester is a national voter, and I assume Tim Brando is a national voter. It's not on our list, but they try to mitigate that, by having a balanced number of voters in the different regions around the country. And but yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if when the voting is broken, the breakdown is revealed later tonight after the awards show, that Jayden didn't win the South and that Penix or Nix doesn't win the West, the far West. I mean, it's just likely to happen. What I think could happen, though, and I think it'll be interesting to see, I think it's going to be very even for Nix and Penix, and I think, in terms of the first place votes, and I think they're going to kind of cancel each other out. I've always said if you have people say you got 2 Heisman candidates on the team, you have none, because they're going to cancel each other out because you only vote first, second, third. And that can be very, very difficult for someone's candidacy. So, I heard some of those comments. I certainly agreed. I'm not just saying that because I'm on your show. I agreed with what you said about what John Canzano said about Jayden. I thought it was unfair. And I will say this: I can't reveal my vote, but I would not leave off someone off a ballot who I thought was a worthy person just to help a guy I cover, or to denigrate them in their play. Bo Nix had a tremendous season. Michael Penix had a tremendous season. And Marvin Harrison, I know people are sore that he won the Biletnikoff over Malik Nabers, but in such a close vote. But he's a tremendous player as well, and probably be the first wide receiver taken in the draft. So it's I try to avoid those things, and I'm very disappointed when I hear people who obviously are voters express those things, because that's not fair to Jayden Daniels. He has worked so hard to elevate his game since he's been at LSU, and has reaped the benefits of it, and deserves all the accolades.
Scott, what it is interesting though that you talked about the West Coast and maybe sort of splitting the vote. But one of the things that I've often thought is, well, sure, Penix and Nix may be splitting the first place vote, but what if West Coast voters have Penix, Nix in whatever order, and then Jayden third? Because the way that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it? It's 3 points for a first place vote, 2 points for a second place vote, 1 point for a third place vote. So in theory, if those West Coast voters bump Jayden to third, that does hurt him, even if the first two are splitting the first place votes.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that's how it works out, and then you'll be totally left off some people's ballots. I mean, I go back to Joe Burrow, one of the biggest landslides in Heisman history, by over 1,800 points over Jalen Hurts. He was left off of 4.5% of the ballots. Off of 37 of the ballots, people didn't vote him first, second, or third, which in retrospect just blows my mind.
Right.
That you couldn't even, you have to vote for him first. He's not going to win. He wasn't going to win every first place vote, but like, how do you not say he's one of the top three voters and the players in the country? So that's going to be interesting. I think Jayden needs to carry. It's kind of like election returns, right?
Yeah.
At this point, he needs to carry the South, the Southwest, maybe like the Mid-Atlantic is another region. If he gets at least 3 of the 6 regions, if he's in first place, I think that's going to. He'll probably do better in some of those regions than either one of those guys can do in the West Coast. But I would be surprised if Jayden, most of the ballots coming from the far West, is not third or left off.
Yeah. He is Scott Rabalais from The Advocate. The Heisman presentation is tonight, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern here local time in New York. So we'll know the winner around 9 o'clock local time, 8 o'clock back home in Baton Rouge. Hey, Scott, if I could, before I let you go, just a quick thought on not only the season Jayden had, but also just the fact that for LSU, we're all assuming he's going to win it. This will be the second Heisman Trophy winner in 4 years for a program that was 60 years between winners.
Yeah, this is for the program. This would be, obviously for Jayden, it's life changing. Your name. It's like being the Masters champion. Wherever you go, the rest of your life, it's Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow, Heisman Trophy winner, Billy Cannon. They still say that about Billy Cannon.
Yes.
And you're in that pantheon of just this great group of players. But for LSU as a program, this is big as well. To have for a school that was a quarterback desert a decade ago. It's really between Matt Flynn and Joe Burrow. Obviously, a lot of ups and downs with quarterbacks, and a lot of less than stellar play, and of course we can get into the offenses and all that. But this would be huge for the program, especially a program that's trying to land Bryce Underwood who's the number 1 player for the class of 2025 at quarterback. This shows that you're trying to feature the offense in a way that a quarterback can thrive here, and LSU, for LSU as well. Just the history of it. LSU would be only the 12th school with 3 or more Heisman winners. That's up there. When you add the Heisman trophies to the national championships and the All-Americans and all that stuff, it further establishes that you have a program that is not only historically great, but is great right now, as they're trying to get back to that elite level where the Alabamas and Georgias are. So it would be huge for all concerned, and not just for Jayden Daniels.
He is Scott Rabalais of The Advocate, Heisman voter as well. Scott, enjoy the night. We appreciate you for taking a couple of minutes. Thank you.
My pleasure, Matt. Thank you.
All right, be well. Scott Rabalais, we appreciate him for taking a couple of minutes. He's just about 15 blocks from where we are. He's there in Times Square at the Marriott Marquis, where Heisman media availability with the finalists just wrapped up. And we're here at Legends in Midtown on West 33rd. And I tell you, Sally Steele and the LSU Alumni Association have done a great job. Every single table in this place has LSU pom-poms and shakers and Jayden Daniels buttons. If you're watching, I'll show them to you. If you're listening, I'll have to describe it. But there's one. It's a cartoon of Jayden Daniels, that kid Jayden, and the other is the Block L LSU with Heisman with the 5 in it. So those buttons are on tables as well. And this place is going to be packed. This is basically like a game watch for every LSU fan in Manhattan tonight. So it's going to be packed as we continue to move throughout these next 90 minutes now as we count you down to the Heisman Show on television. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill Bender is also now national college football writer. I want to get his perspective on all 4 finalists. Haven't covered all of them in detail this year. We'll continue here from Legends. Our Heisman Show is brought to you by Acura Baton Rouge, Community Steel, and Insurance Network of Louisiana.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
coming back, Matt.
Welcome back to the Heisman Preview Show, presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Eagle 98.1.
It'll be Daniels who pulls around the right edge, got a block on the edge, and Daniels off to the races. Midfield, 35-30, 25-20. Still outrunning Gators to the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. 85-yard touchdown for Jayden Daniels.
A lot of people have asked, what is Jayden Daniels' Heisman moment this year that, provided he wins the vote tonight, as we suspect he will, what is the highlight that will play for years and years and years? Pick any number of them from that Florida game, the 85-yard run, certainly among the best. Bill Bender of the Sporting News, national college football writer, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here. He's also a Heisman voter. He's on Twitter at BillBender92. Bill, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. I would love to get your thoughts as a guy who covers the sport nationally on each of the finalists. And I guess we'll start with Jayden. Getting an opportunity to see him from afar, how would you describe the 12-game run that he went on, this historic statistical run?
Well, I mean, obviously it'll get compared to Lamar Jackson a little bit. And then when you dig into the numbers, wow, it really is like Lamar Jackson. A slightly different version in that he combined the passing efficiency, the 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, with that amazing run against Florida. That's the first moment I think of. And then you look at Pro Football Focus, and where is it? 20 yards or more, 22 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, every stat that you look at with Jayden Daniels, you kind of, I call, you probably call it the same thing. You do a double take. You're like, that can't be right. And then you're like, oh, it is.
He was everything about it was remarkable. Did you vote for Lamar in 2016?
Did. And despite I know they lost a couple games late in the season. I remember the Houston game, but one of the things there was he was just. I think he won the Heisman in September, and he's one of the few that has since I've been a voter. I thought he won the Heisman when they played Syracuse in week 2. Because he went out there, he had the hurdle, he had all those plays, he had 8 touchdowns like Jayden Daniels did this year in a game, and you were kind of like, I don't think anybody else is going to win this thing. And he even lost to Deshaun Watson and still won the Heisman.
So how do you, when you consider the award, how do you measure best player against, best player on the best team? Essentially, obviously, Lamar's team lost 3 games that year. Jayden and LSU lost 3 games this year.
Yeah, I looked at it this way. With Jayden Daniels, I looked at how he performed against ranked teams. And it's not like he played bad against Florida State. He certainly didn't play bad against Ole Miss. And he gets knocked out of the Alabama game where he had every bit the same game that Jalen Milroe was having that night. It was actually a quarterback duel that got cut short a little bit. So everything checked out from that standpoint. I mean, with Lamar, the knock was the Houston game where he got sacked, I think 8 times in a game. Ed Oliver had a lot to do with that. So their trajectories, like I said, very similar. And I haven't heard one person in the last 7 years say something like, man, Lamar, maybe outside of Clemson, where they were like, man, Lamar didn't deserve that thing. He certainly did that season.
Yeah. Bill Bender is with us. He's on Twitter at BillBender92. I'd love to get your thoughts as a guy who covers the sport nationally on the other 3 finalists. You live in Ohio, so you get to see Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously a lot. He statistically didn't have the year he did a season ago, but he's sort of a consensus, number 1 receiver in the draft and all that sort of stuff. What's your thoughts on Marvin Harrison being a finalist here this weekend?
You know what? I'm probably talking to the wrong guy here because I live in the bubble in Central Ohio, and Jacob Hester and I had a little bit of a back and forth about it a couple weeks ago where, he was like, well, what's the difference between Harrison and Malik Nabers? And from a statistical standpoint, yeah, that's a valid argument. Same with Rome Odunze. I just think with Marvin Harrison, it's the attention he commands from a coverage, some of the acrobatic catches he makes. And he is in the Big Ten where the offense was a little bit different this year because you're playing against top 10 defenses. He had a great game against Penn State, had a great game against Michigan. I'm a Packers fan. I hope he has great games for Green Bay in the future somehow. I don't know if we can get up that far in the draft. But and he's a good guy. He does represent the Heisman and everything it stands for in a really classy fashion.
What about the two Pac-12 quarterbacks, Nix and Penix, who both were amazing this year? They both had remarkable seasons. The differentiator is likely the fact that Michael Penix went 2-0 in those games. Is it really that simple with those two?
Yeah, and I think so. And I think when the voting comes out tonight, and as you know, we can't say who we voted for, but I think at the end it's going to be a Jayden Daniels, Michael Penix thing. And because Bo Nix is a hyper efficient as he was, led the nation in completion percentage, they lost both times against Washington. And for Michael Penix, it was almost he wasn't exactly the star of the show all the time. And that bodes well for Washington in the playoffs, by the way, because it might be Rome Odunze, it might be Dylan Johnson, it might be their defense. They found multiple ways to win, but it is interesting to me that the guy that is the only guy that will be playing in the playoffs, and that, as you know, that's not how this award works. It's typically dude that gets to the playoff, he wins the Heisman. It's only not happened twice with Caleb Williams and Lamar Jackson.
So do you feel, this is a total hypothetical, but do you feel if Bo Nix had won the Pac-12 championship game that he would have been a runaway winner this? We'll wait on the announcement, of course, but do you feel he would have been let me say it this way. Would he have been in the same position statistically that Jayden Daniels is going into tonight?
Probably. It would have been I think it would have been more of a toss-up because Bo Nix was the betting favorite, wasn't he? Or it was close.
Yeah.
And you saw the odds shift so quickly during that game. And it is, I've seen the Heisman won on the last weekend plenty of times. I can say this. The only time, and I think I've voted for the Heisman since 2015 or 2014, the only time I haven't voted for the winner was the year it was Kyler and Tua. And I voted for Tua. And I told my buddies that night, I said, hey, I voted for him, by the way. And great friends that I have, they just let me know how wrong I was all night. I was like, I'm not wrong. It's my vote.
Right. Why is that, Bill? Like, what do you attribute that to? The fact that you did end up voting for the winner every year but one.
I mean, some years it was open and shut. I think I like the years where it is open and shut. Like the Joe Burrow year was log in, vote Joe Burrow, vote two other dudes. I'm done. I have the same area code as Joe, and that's where the sports comparison stops.
Right.
But I like those years too because Joe was so much ahead of everybody else. But there are other years where you really – won't say I stress about it because it's just an honor to do it in the first place. But it's tough because you want to pick the right guy, but you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. Devontae Smith was another interesting year because he caught fire late, and then you were like, that's probably right.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News. He's on Twitter at BillBender92. I'm assuming that the four players that we certainly know three of the four, but all four will likely have their college careers end after tonight. They'll all go pro. What do you if I asked you how you think college football might remember Jayden Daniels and this 2023 team, what would you say?
Another example of the portal, and with the quarterback transfer portal and how it's become a little bit of a game of roulette, I'm always quick to tell people, if you can get a transfer quarterback, you're going to get the best out of them in year two. It held up with Joe Burrow. It's held up with others. It obviously held up with Jayden Daniels, where if you go all the way back, last year's opener against Florida State, and I know you remember that one.
Oh, yeah.
And look at Jayden Daniels now, the development, the ability to make plays, the ability in adjusting to that offense. And I think, honestly, the ability to give him a shot at the next level, it's all there. So, and Penix and Nix, your guys. So they've been there 2 years, and it makes a difference when you're in that system for that second year.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Follow him at BillBender92, also a Heisman voter. Good enough to spend a few minutes with us here today on our Heisman preview show. Bill, we appreciate it. Enjoy the night. Thanks so much.
Hey, no problem. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. That is Bill Bender. This is our Heisman preview show. We are live at Legends in Midtown Manhattan on West 33rd. Starting to fill out as LSU fans are trickling in, getting ready for the television broadcast, which will begin in an hour and 15 minutes from right now on ESPN. It's a 1-hour broadcast. At the end of the broadcast, of course, is when the Heisman winner will be announced. We'll hear the Heisman speech. And then the celebration in Manhattan will begin for a lot of LSU fans. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Our coverage all week long is brought to you by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel. Jimmy Burrow will be with us in 15 minutes from right now. When we return, though, I do want to touch briefly on the Biletnikoff Award because there are a lot of LSU fans wondering what happened. We'll talk about it a bit when we return here on the Heisman Preview Show.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
This is the Heisman Preview Show, presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Eagle 98.1.
First down and 10, now playing on the Alabama side of the field. Again, Taylor will motion left to right. Here's the snap, a little low, but handled by Daniels. Launches deep down the field, has a man wide open. Nabers at the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
Chris Blair on the call, LSU Sports Radio Network. That was a connection we got to see quite a bit this year. Jayden Daniels with 40 touchdown passes on the season. And of those 40 touchdown passes, 14 of them went to Malik Nabers, who got edged by one vote for the Blitnikoff as the nation's most outstanding wide receiver, which went to Marvin Harrison Jr. Quite honestly, I did not even think the vote would be that close. I know there's a lot of people, and I thought Nabers was not going to win the award. I know there's a lot of LSU fans who saw that vote and are wondering why and how that happened. And the thing that I think is important to remember is, while it's not supposed to work this way, it's not supposed to, it does, that a lot of times national awards are as much about name recognition as they are about play on the field. It is just legitimately not possible for every voter to watch every game of every player. So oftentimes you end up seeing highlights and you get snippets of players, and notoriety becomes a big part of it, name recognition. And in this instance, not only is Marvin Harrison a great football player, who also happens to have a famous father who shares the same name with him. So I'm not suggesting that Marvin Harrison won the Blitnikoff because his dad was a great receiver, because Marvin Harrison himself is a great receiver. He is the consensus #1 receiver in this upcoming draft. A year where Ohio State's passing numbers were down, and there was no Jackson Smith and Jigba to take some of the pressure off, he still had 67 catches for 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns, matching Malik Nabers' 14. Essentially, without another great option, Marvin Harrison still went off. So, look, Nabers had more catches. He had more receiving yards. They had the same number of touchdowns. Neither team made the playoff. I'll say it to you this way. At its most basic level, Malik Nabers had the best season of any receiver in college football this year, and that's who should have won the award. Malik Nabers should have won the Blitnikoff, which goes to the best receiver in the country, and that was Malik Nabers this year. We do, however, see this happen, and it's worked both to LSU's benefit and to LSU's detriment. In this instance, it worked to LSU's detriment, that everyone knew Marvin Harrison. He came in with tons of hype and delivered a really strong season. The fact that Malik was able to gain so much on him and lose by only one vote, darn near win the thing, tells you exactly how great of a season that Malik had. But I remind people all the time of Grant Delpit. In 2018, Grant Delpit was not only the best defensive back in college football, he was the best defensive player in college football. But Grant Delpit did not win the Thorpe Award. DeAndre Baker from Georgia did. And Delpit essentially doubled every statistical category that Baker had that year. Tackles, TFLs, sacks, interceptions, passes defended, force, all of it. Grant Delpit was otherworldly in 2018, but did not win the Thorpe. In 2019, Delpit was injured for a lot of that season. His production tailed off dramatically, and Grant Delpit won the Thorpe Award. He won it because of the notoriety and name recognition that he had. Go back to 2010 and 2011. In 2010, Morris Claiborne had a better season than Patrick Peterson. Peterson won the Thorpe. In 2011, Tyrann Mathieu was a Heisman finalist and was the most dynamic defensive player in the country. Mo Claiborne won the Thorpe based on the fact that Claiborne had a great 2011, but he had a really dominant 2010 because teams were throwing away from Peterson. They threw at Claiborne, and Claiborne made him pay. My point is, this has worked to LSU's benefit in the past. In this instance, it worked to their detriment, unfortunately. I feel for Malik Nabers because these awards are an opportunity a lot of times at immortality. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, when people, whether it's future players, fans, recruits, coaches, when they walk in LSU's football operations building and they go into that trophy room, they're going to see Josh Reed's Blitnikoff. They're going to see Jamar Chase's Blitnikoff. There isn't a Malik Nabers Blitnikoff, and there should have been. When fans go to Tiger Stadium and you look outside of Tiger Stadium right there in the north end zone, there's plaques on the stadium that have all of the national award winners. Malik's name should be there as a Blitnikoff Award winner. It's not. He is, however, going to finish his career as LSU's leader in career receptions. If he plays in the bowl game, as he said he intends to, he will finish as LSU's career leader in receiving yards as well. He is a first-team All-American, so he will have that distinction in the annals of LSU history. So, and he is going to go be a first-round pick and be a really good NFL receiver for a long time. I feel for him. It's just not surprising that it happened. Malik did tweet in all caps, "Remember that."
15.
So disrespectful with the OK emoji. Maybe see him go off in the bowl game. Okay, we are here at Legends. It is our Heisman preview show. When we come back, I'm looking forward to this. Jimmy Burrow is going to join us. Just 4 years ago on this night, Jimmy and Robin Burrow saw their son, Joe Burrow, become a Heisman Trophy winner. What's that moment like? What's it like now 4 years later, and his thoughts on Jayden Daniels? Jimmy Burrow will join us coming up next here on the Heisman Preview Show.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I can let this bumper roll for a little bit if I need to.
Preview show presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Eagle 98.1.
It is my pleasure to announce the 2019 winner and 85th recipient of the Heisman Memorial Trophy is Joe Burrow, Louisiana State University. Congratulations. Congratulations.
4 years ago, a 60-year drought ended when number 9, Joe Burrow, hoisted the Heisman Trophy. Just 4 years, as all LSU fans are likely going to have to wait, as Jayden Daniels, the odds-on favorite to do the same thing here in just a couple of hours from a few blocks from where we are. We're in Midtown Manhattan on West 33rd at Legends, and we are thrilled to be joined by Coach Jimmy Burrow here for a couple of minutes. Jimmy, it's our pleasure. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's going to be a great night in New York for hopefully Jayden and LSU. So we're excited. We're sorry we couldn't be there. We had some prior obligations, but we're there in heart and spirit.
What was it like when you think about that night 4 years ago for you and your family?
Well, it was crazy nervous, even though we knew it was a good chance Joe was going to win. But your heart's kind of beating out of your chest as it leads up to that moment that you just heard when the lady announces the winner. So it was fun. It was a great week, and to know that your son's going to win the Heisman is unbelievable. It changes your life, your family's life forever, really.
Does just saying it out loud still feel just so different, so odd to say it?
It does. Joe Burrow, Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, there's not that many in the whole world, and then so as a result, there's not many parents of Heisman Trophy winners. So you're as a parent, you're put into a select category also, and it's pretty amazing. And we were proud of LSU. Again, LSU changed Joe's life and ours also.
Jimmy, it's so interesting. So I talked to Bunny Cannon yesterday, and I think everybody knows Bunny, daughter of the late Dr. Billy Cannon, wrote Joe a letter. I know she's done the same for Jayden. And one of the things she said is it doesn't just change the life of the athlete, but the family, because forever she is known as the daughter of Heisman Trophy winner. So how has yours and Robin's life changed as a result of this 4 years ago?
Well, as I said, you're in a select few, and so certainly we're known as a Heisman Trophy winner's parents, and Joe has gone on to play in the NFL, but I think still probably more people around the world know that Joe's a Heisman winner and we're his parents than really the fact that he's in the NFL. But it's just a unbelievable feeling, a great opportunity for a young man to win the Heisman, and for his parents too. That it's a night, and it continues to be special. And Bonnie did give us that letter, and we were on the plane to the Heisman, and Joe was able to read it. So, and we continue to stay in touch with Bonnie. We texted with her today, and once again, you're now tied together. Billy Cannon's family, Joe Burrow's family, and again, hopefully tonight, Jayden Daniels' family.
Have you gotten to meet or speak with Jayden's parents, Jay and Regina, at all?
We have gone back and forth on text to try to hook up with a time, and I know how hectic what's going on with them, and we texted this morning. I just sent her that little video of Joe reaching out to Jayden that I saw for the first time this morning, and she texted back. She just appreciated Robin and me and Joe, because we have gone back and forth in the text, and I hope to have the opportunity to talk to her on the phone, because it's pretty overwhelming as a parent, and I think even after tonight, any help, any advice that we're able to give to Jayden and his family, I think it's huge to have those type people reach out to you.
This might be, Jimmy, this might be a better question for Joe, but I'll ask you, because it's interesting how the story with talking to Bunny Cannon yesterday sort of dovetails. She said for so many years her dad wanted someone else. He wanted company. He wanted someone to share that designation with. And obviously he passed the spring before Joe came to LSU. And now Joe is going to have this to share with Jayden, we presume, again, here in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But we're all saying it as if it's done. I think we all know it is. But what can you speak to that maybe for Joe to be able to have someone shoulder to shoulder with?
Well, certainly didn't have to wait as long as the Cannon, so
Right.
that's positive. But I think in a way, the Cannon family, I'm sure Billy Cannon, that he set the stage for Joe winning, even though it was so many years ago. And I think Joe is proud that maybe this is happening, so fast, and that LSU football is. LSU, I'm sure the Daniels family would say, his transfer to LSU changed their life, and the same thing with Joe. But he's excited. We've talked. He's all on board as Jayden being the best player in college football, and proud that it's going to happen as fast as it has.
Is Athens, Ohio, a purple and gold town now?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, I was just in the Westin Hotel in downtown Cincinnati, and somebody walked across in an LSU T-shirt. You still see Burrow LSU jerseys in Cincinnati, and for sure Athens. They're all over. Even on the away trips in the NFL, you see somebody in a Burrow, a number 9 LSU. So, but a lot of that is because of the recognition that you get as a Heisman winner, and Joe was fortunate to also win the national championship. But I think a lot of that still stems from the fact that he won the Heisman.
Jimmy Burrow is with us. Jimmy, I know it's a busy night, and I can't thank you enough for a couple of minutes. Before you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask how Joe is doing. I know he had the injury, and that's disappointing for everybody, but I know everybody would want me to ask.
Well, he's progressing well. His surgeon is actually in town here to visit with him tomorrow, so we're looking for an update, and hopefully, I'm sure most of the people have seen that big bandage on his wrist that on Monday Night Football, and we're hoping a good signal tomorrow would be if he's able to at least get that off and get into a little more of a brace. So, but so far so good. Still a long road ahead, but he's been there, done that, and we all know Joe's character and his toughness, so he'll be back.
Well, you've got your entire family as perpetual fans in Louisiana throughout all of LSU. I can't thank you enough for for taking a couple of minutes. Best to Robin and all the boys, and
All right.
and we
Thank
appreciate you.
Well, go Tigers. Good luck to Jayden. We love LSU and Baton Rouge, so we'll be back this spring.
We'll look forward to it. Thanks, Jimmy.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye.
That is Jimmy Burrow. Of course, 4 years ago, one of the funny stories that I know Jimmy's told before is, for him being a college football coach, coming to the Heisman ceremony with Joe 4 years ago was incredible because he's a college football coach. And so there's all these legends of the game. And so I know Jimmy's told these stories before with us and with others, but, being surrounded by a lot of guys who he coached against or played during times, I think maybe Jimmy was in the CFL at the same time Doug Flutie, and so there was he was just sort of like talking to Doug Flutie, and I think Robin at one point was like, hey, your son just won the Heisman Trophy. Yeah, but Doug Flutie. But you could just tell it's one of those nights. When we all love the sport, you're just surrounded and enveloped by the history of the sport on a night like tonight, and I don't think that's lost on anyone. So certainly, let alone the candidates, the winners, and their families. So we are here at Legends in Midtown on West 33rd. Such a great spot. If you've never been to Legends, if you ever come to New York City, make sure you come in here because you'll walk in, you'll see. If you're watching, you'll see over my left shoulder. There's a framed picture of an LSU football helmet. As you walk, you'll see pictures of Tiger Stadium and LSU uniforms and LSU lockers and flags. And there's an inflated, they got a big LSU Tiger inflatable outside of the place right here. It's basically everyone that's in Manhattan tonight that's an LSU fan is going to be here within the next hour getting ready to watch Jayden Daniels crowned as LSU's third Heisman Trophy winner there at Lincoln Center. So that's all coming up. All right, it is our Heisman preview show. We are presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel. We appreciate so very much those three sponsors that have made our broadcast here possible. So thanks so sincerely to them. And thank all of you who have listened to our coverage, who followed along on social media, or are watching on YouTube as well. If you're there on YouTube, do us a favor. Please smash that like button as well and subscribe up to the channel. We appreciate you for being here with us. We will knock out a quick break. Our buddy Russ Mitchell will join us next. Russ Mitchell of College Football News, another national college football writer who's the lead SEC writer over at College Football News. Bill Bender is a national college football writer with the Sporting News, was here last hour. And Scott Rabalais, who covers LSU, of course, was here last hour as well. So kind of wanted to touch all of our bases. So Russ will be with us next, who, of course, is a Heisman voter as well. I would love to get his thoughts on this voting process. And then Russ was here 4 years ago when Joe Burrow won the Heisman Trophy. So we'll be able to relive some of those memories as well as it sort of carries forward tonight to Jayden Daniels and his family with Jay and Regina. It is our Heisman preview show. Russ Mitchell joins us next. Stick around.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Hurry into your local Acura dealer for the Season of Performance event going on now.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your
This is the Heisman Preview Show, presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Eagle 98.1.
Here's the snap. Pressure comes. He evades it, moves to his left. He's off and running. 45-40, far side 30, 25-20, 15. Grabbed from behind and thrown out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Jayden Daniels put the Tigers on his shoulders, picks up the first down on 4th and 4.
The game-saving play, maybe the defining play of that Texas A&M game, 42-30, where the Tigers put up a 21-point fourth quarter, but they were up against it. They were losing the ball game. They were around midfield. They had to have something happen. Go for it on 4th and 4, and Jayden Daniels scrambles for 49 yards. So many of those memorable plays from Jayden Daniels this year with his feet, and that's saying something when those plays could overshadow, in some respects, 3,812 passing yards, 40 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions, and a 95.7 QBR, which led college football. Everything Jayden Daniels did this year was simply magnificent. Russ Mitchell of College Football News, lead SEC writer, great friend of ours, a great friend of the show, also a Heisman voter, was here 4 years ago when Joe Burrow became LSU's first winner in 60 years. Good enough to join us from his home. Russ, we appreciate it. How are you?
Kicking the tires, lighting the fires, baby.
I did not need you to misspeak there. I did not need that to happen.
Hey, you know, it wasn't just the A&M game, right? I mean, it was the Florida game. LSU was behind late in the second half. I mean, so many games they were behind late in the second half, and it was Daniels often using his feet, which is really the difference this season between all of the candidates that are vying for the Heisman.
How hard of a vote was this?
Not for me. It wasn't hard.
Why do you think it was so? Well, then let me ask, why wasn't it hard for you?
And I'm going to be careful here, and I have one more hour before I'm allowed to say who I voted for. but I think that for me, when you do this, And I really want to talk about this next week on your show because I have some really some thoughts that I'd like to share. But because I've been chatting with a lot of other voters, and I'm just perplexed by some things. But okay, to me, it's 133 teams playing all across the country. You have to take strength of schedule into consideration. LSU's strength of schedule was 7th. It was 7th. And, Daniels the defenses that Daniels faced was 48th. The 48 was ranked 48th. Penix's defenses were 71st and Nix's were 87th. 87th! It's like twice as easy as what Daniels had to face. So, to me, that's one of the key factors, and yet you so very rarely hear anybody talking about that. All you hear them talk about is, well, was the team undefeated? Were they 13-0? Were they 12-1? All these sorts of things. When in reality, it's how well did the individual do against the teams that he faced?
Do you feel, or when do you feel that conversation shifted or began to shift away from best player to best player, best team sort of thing? Or is it just a year-by-year thing, Russ, where, look, some years it's obvious. Joe Burrow's year was obvious. He won the greatest landslide ever. The 30-whatever people that left him off their ballot, they should have their ballot stripped from them.
Yeah.
But when do you think, or have you ever thought about that, how that voting and how that thought might have shifted?
I would love to tell you that it's year by year, but it's not. There's been a rather profound switch over, I'd say, the last 25 years, this decade, to best player, best on the best team. Which is not what the award is. If that's what it is, then we should wait till January and after the season is over and identify who's the best team and see if the best player is on that best team. This is why, and I said this on your show last week, why I always vote at the end of the regular season. Because it's not a vote for the best player on the best team, and not everybody gets to play in these money grab conference championship games that we have now that our conferences have gotten so bloated. So, every player gets the chance to play a regular season. I vote at the end of the regular season.
Did Russ Mitchell's with us on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB, College Football News, lead SEC writer, Heisman Trophy voter. When LSU lost to Alabama, was he at that point was he your front runner at that point, or where would he have been in your mind at that point when they lost?
So, I had Daniels up amongst the top since about midway through the season. Nothing he did in any game that he played in throughout the season, from that point on, did anything to change my opinion of where he was in that ranking. And in fact, his performance in the Alabama game before he was that cheap shot, he was doing great. And living up to the standards that he set on the road in Tuscaloosa. So, to me, there's, and then from that point on, every game he played after that was, just truly, I hope all of your listeners, all the Tiger fans that got a chance to experience this, it seems kind of crazy to say this because we just had Burrow 4 years ago, but, you should really, it's entirely possible that you'll never see another quarterback like this.
That's an interesting thought, though, Russ. And I kind of disagree, and here's why. And maybe it's strictly a product of having gone through this with the national championships, where there was a 45-year drought. They kick in the door in 2003, and now we've seen something that felt like forbidden fruit become something common and expected. It almost feels that way with the Heisman as well now. Because you're going to have two over the course of 5 years, 4 seasons, more great players and more great quarterbacks are going to want to come here and play in this offense with this great talent, and it feels like it will happen again.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you that as amazing of a season as Malik Nabers had, he was not, he lost the Biletnikoff. I'm sure you've talked about that by one vote. it was an amazing season, and we're splitting hairs. The guy is just truly remarkable. There's a couple on the Tigers team this year. But if you took Harrison and put him on this year's LSU team with Jayden Daniels as the quarterback, I mean, that cat is so good. So yeah, I think you'll see that kind of talent looking now, both at wide receiver, which I think LSU's always been able to get, but at quarterback, I think you'll be seeing now that NIL is out there and teams opening up. Heck, two of the quarterbacks that have had the greatest seasons in the history of college football transferred into Baton Rouge in the last 5 years.
we were owed it after the decade prior. Maybe Iowa's next in line to deserve a great quarterback like that. Hey, everyone who watches tonight is going to get to see the television broadcast, and many of us have watched those TV broadcasts forever. You got to be in the room in 2019, which it's a very quaint ceremony, Russ. I mean, I think there's maybe 100 thereabouts people. It's a very small ceremony. What's the behind the scenes like for the Heisman ceremony?
It's much bigger than it was, not since the 9/11, and they had to move from the downtown athletic club, which was destroyed or damaged. It's even bigger, much bigger now, and it's still quaint and small. I had a blast. So I've been voting for over a decade, and I was given my vote by a Heisman winner, Gino Torretta, and he invited me in, and I passed. And I called him up when Joe was going to win, and I said, "Hey, Gino, are you going to go to the Heisman?" And he said, "No, I don't think I'm going to go this year." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "Why? Are you calling up because you want to be my date?" And I was like, "Well, and he's like, Russ, I'm not taking you to the Heisman as my date, man. Are you out of your mind?" And then the next day he calls me up, and I answer, and he goes, "You want to go because it's likely Joe's going to win, right?" I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Shoot." That's not what he said. He goes, "Shoot." And he goes, "All right, fine, we'll go." So, I get up there and I walk in, and it's a tiny little place, and you go down this escalator, and I said, "Hi, you're holding a ticket for me. I'm a voter. My name's Russ Mitchell." And I hear this booming voice say, "Russ Mitchell, Russ Mitchell." And I turn around, and it's Marcus Allen, who I've never met. I've never met once in my life. And he's like, "Hey, everybody, it's Russ Mitchell." And I'm like, "Marcus, man, come on, man." And it was just great. I got to hang out with, a lot of the winners, and then the ceremony, there's so many family members in the room. The whole front section, there's two sections. There's a lower section and an upper section. And I'm telling you, Matt, there can't be more than 500 people, not even that.
Well, it's even smaller this year, Russ, because they've moved it. That theater from 2019 closed after COVID, and it's at the Lincoln Center this year. And LSU got about a third of the amount of tickets this year that they got in 2019. So it's going to be even smaller this year than it was when you went.
Wow, it was tiny when I went. I'm telling you, there couldn't have been 500 people, maybe 400 people. And the whole front section is family members and coaches. So, in the back section, there's like maybe 200 people. And by the way, just for the record, LSU fan showed up and represented very, very nicely for Joe Burrow. So I hope they make a lot of noise for Daniels, who's had such a marvelous season.
Russ Mitchell, College Football News. Yeah, we're here at Legends, and for those watching us on YouTube, you can see, if you were here with us at the beginning of the show, you can see it now. The bar is completely filled up behind us. And this is a large place. It's a 3-level bar. There's a basement, the main floor where we are, and then if right behind us, this railing is the stairs that go into the basement, and then there's an upstairs loft as well. And this is going to be completely packed by the time the ceremony starts in about 30 minutes, and certainly by the time Jayden is announced. Hey, last thing before you go, I would like a thought on all of the candidates. that are the finalists this year and the seasons they had relative to the decision that you had to make in voting for them and deciding among them.
Who do you want me to start with?
Yeah, just start with. You already talked a little bit about Harrison, so let's talk about the Pac-12 quarterbacks with Nix and with Penix.
Nix had just a spectacular statistical season. And again, you get in these situations. He had an amazing season, but he played the defenses that he had to face at the end of the year were ranked 87th out of 133. And if you look against the defenses that he played, don't say Washington. Don't say he played Washington. Washington doesn't have that good of a defense. Right. The Huskies' defense is ranked 93rd in the country. UCLA was the best defense in the Pac-12. It finished at 11th. Do you know what Nix's stat line was against UCLA?
I remember that game, and it was not good.
No, that was the game before. That was actually the game before. He didn't play them this year. Utah was the best team that he played, and they had the 17th best defense, and he had a good game. He was 24 of 31 for 248 yards. It's a 77% completion percentage. That's very good. 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That's a good game on the road against a top 20 defense. But it's not epic. It's not Heisman. And he had 8 rushing yards for 4 carries. So, I tried to weigh things like that in addition to the overall performance he had, great wins, except, in a tough Pac-12.
UCLA, Utah, you're right. That's the one. That was the 14-7 game that I was thinking about. That was the low-scoring game.
Yes. Arizona was the next best team in the Pac-12. You know what his record was against Arizona? He didn't play them. So, you got to actually do the work when you're voting.
Yeah, that unfortunately is the part that I think we've talked about a lot over the past several weeks, is that it is I think there are a lot of voters who vote on clips they see on SportsCenter and name and brand recognition without actually taking the time to delve into all the candidates. And so you do have situations that got very tenuous like this year when there was one player that was very clearly the best in college football, but it came down to a nail-biting Pac-12 championship game. But it looks like it's going to go the purple and gold's way. Russ Mitchell, college football news. He's on Twitter at RussMitchellCFB. Thanks, man. Enjoy the ceremony tonight.
All right, I'll talk to you later, brother.
All right, be well. That is Russ Mitchell. This is the Heisman Preview Show. We are presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel. We are here at Legends on West 33rd. It is getting crowded. Oh, Danny Cardenas is here. You got to be kidding me. Danny Cardenas showed up. I love it. It's our Heisman Preview Show. Let's knock out a quick break. We're going to try to run down Jacob Hester, who is in Manhattan. He was in Boston earlier today. For Army, Navy, hopped on a train, got over here. Hester's also a Heisman voter, so we'll see if we can track down Hester, and we'll give you some final thoughts before we send you off to the Heisman ceremony about 28 minutes from right now. Stick with us here from Legends.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them.
In Midtown Manhattan, it's the Heisman Preview Show, presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Eagle 98.1.
Daniels in the pocket now will decide to escape and run. Daniels up the middle of the field, sidesteps a defender at about the 40-yard line. Now he's free. Near side, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
Jayden Daniels, we are counting down 23 minutes until the television broadcast begins on ESPN. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Again, sincere thanks to Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel for bringing us our coverage. What a day it was for 18. Jacob Hester was in Boston this morning working for Sirius XM for Army Navy. He's made it to Manhattan. 18, how are you, man?
What's going on, Matt? Yeah, let's just say like a redneck from Shreveport who has never been on a train before to go from Boston doing shows for Army Navy, to drive up to Foxborough to do a pregame show out in the elements in the cold, and then find a way to basically walk 2 miles to an Uber to get on a train in Providence, Rhode Island, head down to New York City. It's been a day. It's been a day for your boy, but a heck of a day. Glad for the work, glad for the opportunity. So we finally made it. We're just waiting on now to see if Jayden does, in fact, win the Heisman Trophy.
Well, just try to turn left off of Nicholson onto Lee. Good luck with that, all right? To tell you what's really challenging in life.
That's exactly right.
You were here in 19. I know you just got here, but just all of the circumstances surrounding the two, how would you compare and contrast?
I think really last time that we were all here, it was so new because it had been so long since LSU had a Heisman Trophy winner, or I mean, I know that they had finalists before, but we all know the Heisman Trophy has really grown to something that's completely different than even those times. And even when Tyron was here in 2011, like, you just didn't feel like a defensive player was going to win it, even though he was the most disruptive player in college football. So, like, to be here with Joe, to know he was going to win it, it was like this giddy feeling for all these LSU fans that they've waited. They've waited for, over 50 years at the time to have a Heisman Trophy winner. And so, like, that was the feeling there. And then here, I think it's a feeling of, okay, well, if LSU gets a second Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, like, the conversations I've been around since I've been here just, an hour is like, okay, well, what's LSU going to do to parlay that into success? And so it's really a different conversation, and one that I never thought we'd be having. I mean, LSU was a graveyard for quarterbacks, it felt like, for so long, and now here we are going to have two Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks potentially in a 5-year span. So the conversation, again, I just got here, but it's like, okay, if LSU has another one, what does that mean for them? Kind of the conversation.
This season was chock full of so many great plays, as a great season would have to be. Taylor's done a great job playing a lot of those as we come out of break. You heard the run, the 51-yard run against Florida as we came out. Yeah. When you think about everyone always says, well, what's your Heisman moment? Let me ask it to you this way, because everybody says, well, there's so many. In 50 years from now, when it's Jayden Daniels' golden Heisman anniversary, and they run the highlight play, what play do you think it is that they're going to run?
It's probably not going to be one of those Florida plays, but for me, and it was early in the season, and maybe we didn't know at the time, it was his performance in Como. That should be the Heisman moment. Remember, I mean, look, he had hurt ribs. He had blood coming from his elbow down, dripping off his hand. Hell, he had a bloody lip. I mean, he was beat to hell in that game. And you'll remember, I mean, he made the plays to win it like he did oftentimes for LSU. And he just continued to come and come and come. And then even like one where he scored and got hit late and hurt his rib, they didn't count that, but it didn't stop it. Yeah. So the Florida plays will be the ones because, look, that 50-plus yard run is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in Tiger Stadium. But for me, on the road, Como, the best crowd that place had ever seen, and no matter what they did, it wasn't going to be enough because that day 5 was locked in. That was the moment I'm like, okay, this is a badass. This dude's different. It's not just a running quarterback. This guy can do everything, and he's tough as nails, which honestly, I didn't know he was like that.
Yeah. Man, I kind of think if LSU had gotten – when they were up 9 at Ole Miss in the fourth quarter, they had managed to hold on there. This is a landslide. The Heisman vote is a landslide. And I don't know if LSU's not going to be in the playoff, obviously, because we know how the rest of the season turned out. But they are a New Year's 16. I mean, and we're having, I think, a dramatically different conversation today. Would you agree that would be the moment, that Ole Miss game?
Oh, without question. If LSU wins that game, I mean, it's a completely different season. I mean, you're without question in a New Year's Six bowl game. This isn't even a conversation. This is a foregone conclusion. And, look, I still think it's going to go his way, but this would have been an absolute landslide, like you said. I mean, that game, it kind of changed LSU's season. And to think about them having a chance, Chris Hilton ball in his hands, tough catch, yes. But if he catches that football, like, who knows? Like, who knows where you go into that Alabama game?
Yes.
Like, what's your mentality in that game as well? So, yeah, that one play, and look, things led to that. The third down call, you roll him out, didn't love it. We talked about it to nauseam on both of our shows. But, yeah, that one singular game, if you're able to hold on to it, I mean, you potentially could talk about LSU, being in the SEC championship game again. It felt like that kind of momentum was lost in that game.
You're right. They would have been on a 7-game winning streak going into Tuscaloosa. Yeah. So the fact that he's able to overcome all the 3 losses, and in particular the ones we just mentioned, Ole Miss and Alabama, to win this tonight is certainly commentary on the season he had. Hester's with us. Hey, I want to ask from not a Hester radio media guy, but 18 Jacob Hester, who lives in LSU lore. You do. I know you don't. You're an unassuming guy, and you don't probably want me to say it in these terms, but I'm gonna. Like, in the annals of LSU history, whenever people talk about you, they're going to mention the Florida game, and you're 18, and you are forever. Your spot in LSU lore is forever there. what is that like? I'm going to make you talk about yourself for a second, which I know you don't like to do. But
I love that.
I know. But it's important, though. It's important because that. But similarly, Jayden don't like talking about himself either. But like after tonight, like that's going to happen forever, like for the rest of his life. Yeah. So how does that like in a literal way? Like how does that change your life?
Completely. I think it completely changes your life when you have a moment. When you have something that is yours, when you have something that you can talk about and everybody says, hey, I was in the stadium, here's where I was sitting, here was the emotion that I went through. And now, obviously, it wasn't just me against Florida. It was a team effort. We had 5 first downs, and everybody did their part. But, like, to hear somebody, like, talk through it through such emotion, and I was there with my dad. My dad's no longer with me. We watched that game together. I mean, I can't tell you how much that humbles me every time somebody tells me that story. I will talk about that game with anybody that wants to. I will never turn anybody down. That is a moment, like, not everybody gets that opportunity. Not everybody has that chance to be able to have that moment. And, you know, we won a championship, which that helps that moment. It kind of seals that moment and maybe lives on for a little bit longer. But for me, I mean, I love the fact that, one, aiming at the Florida Gators, I'm a Gator hater, but just to have that moment where a lot of people point to that season and say, hey, this was the game. This is my favorite game. The USC score got announced, the whole deal. And so to have that, to be a part of something where every LSU fan kind of knows where they were during that moment, I mean, it's the ultimate for me. I mean, it's one of those things that I'll never get tired of talking about, and just special and humbled again to be in that conversation.
Yeah. Immortality for Jayden Daniels is just about an hour and 15 minutes away. Jacob Hester's with us. So I assume you'll be able to be doing some work tonight for Sirius XM after the ceremony.
So if he wins, if he wins, just like with Joe Burrow, we are very fortunate to get the first interview kind of off the stage after the press conference, and so hopefully, if Jayden is able to secure it, we'll be able to get him right there and have a great conversation with him. I already said hello to him, man, had a smile on his face. Looks like he was not nervous at all. I'd be sweating bullets right now. But, yeah, very excited if he does, in fact, win, to be able to say that, I've interviewed 2 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks at LSU. Again, something that I did not think that I would ever be able to say.
You didn't walk 2 miles from Foxborough to catch an Uber, to go to Rhode Island, to catch a train to Manhattan, to walk through SantaCon, to get a shower in Brandon Berrio's room, to not have Jayden Daniels win it tonight. All right, man, we appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, I'm a Heisman voter, so I can't tell you who I voted for, but I will say this. If I don't get a chance to work tonight after everything that you just said, I might get in a 3-point stance and go fullback belly on somebody.
I think you're going to get a chance to be on the mic a bit later, man. It's going to be a good night. Thanks for the time, man. We'll see you in a little bit.
Absolutely. Y'all hold it down, man. Sounds like y'all having a heck of a time there. Y'all keep it up.
All right, man. We'll see you. That's Jacob Hester. It's our Heisman preview show. Again, sincere thanks to Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel, who are bringing you our coverage here from Legends in Midtown. It's been a great couple of days here, and we got one segment to go before we hand it off to the ESPN broadcast. And we all get to sit back, enjoy, watch those 4 great college football players be honored, and then one of them immortalized. And we're all assuming that's going to be Jayden Daniels about an hour and 13 minutes from right now. We'll continue and wrap up next here from Legends in Manhattan.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
Welcome back to the Heisman Preview Show, presented by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Eagle 98.1.
Motion Nabers. Behind the formation, here's the snap. Daniels steps back deep, throws deep down the center of the field. Thomas wide open, catch made in the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
42 yards from Jayden Daniels to Brian Thomas in Columbia, Missouri, after LSU early in that game had found itself down 22-10, managed to storm all the way back. That gave LSU its first lead of the ball game, and the Tigers led in the third quarter there. Missouri would get the ball back, but you know what? It wasn't even that touchdown that, to me, was the biggest play, because after that, if you recall, Missouri retook the lead. Missouri retook the lead 32-27. And LSU missed a field goal, and it felt like that was going to be it, because you felt like you had to score on every possession. The defense got a stop, forced a 3-and-out, and they downed LSU after a misplayed punt, downed LSU at their own 8-yard line. 92 yards LSU was staring, and that's when things looked bleak. And that's when Jayden Daniels did what he's done so many times. He loaded LSU up on his back on a 3rd and 9, 14-yard scramble. Then, boom, 35 yards to Malik Nabers, a 7-yarder to Mason Taylor, an incomplete pass deep. But then we thought we should have been penalty. They didn't throw the flag. Jayden was like, no worries. Next play, 35-yard Jayden Daniels touchdown scramble. Tigers would get the 2-point conversion, and they wouldn't look back. Time and again, Jayden Daniels, his Heisman moment, was picking up this team in their desperate moments, when you felt like it was slipping away, put the team on his back and led that great drive. The 85-yard touchdown run against Florida, the 4th and 4 run against Texas A&M, the 35-yard touchdown with the bruised ribs that I just talked about against Missouri. That is what Jayden Daniels was all of this season. You know, Hester talked about immortality in the last segment, and somebody on Twitter at SportsTalkPod_ said, hearing Hester talk about the 07 Florida game right now, jerking the tears out of me, man. And that's the reality for a lot of LSU fans, because you attach yourself to these great moments. But that's what happens with immortality. That's what happened with Hester in 2007. It's certainly what happened with Joe Burrow in 2019. And that's what has happened now with Jayden Daniels this year. He has solidified himself as an immortal. And when you have a Heisman Trophy winner, and so many of us waited 60 years to see it with Joe, and we had a shorter wait this time, it doesn't make it any less special, in the same way that 03 was amazing to watch LSU win a national championship after 45 years. And then think about the moments that 07 lent us. Flynn to Bird, Hester against Florida. There were so many of them. And similarly here with Jayden Daniels. They're all different, but you love them all the same, in the way that you love your children the same, because they're all special in their own unique way. And this season was certainly that for Jayden Daniels. And for LSU, they're going to be able to use this to recruit heretofore and continue to build on that legacy. And just like the championships have become more like a birthright and feel more commonplace, so too will Heisman Trophy winners, because of Joe Burrow, because of now Jayden Daniels. The Heisman ceremony is coming up on ESPN television. Again, thanks to Paul O'Neill and Taylor Sharp, Bo Wegman for making this broadcast possible, and thanks to all of our sponsors and us here at Legends. We'll see you. Enjoy the night.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company, located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com, or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr.